So it's lesson 5, part 2. We started looking at some design resources and we're interested in customizing. We want to maybe override some of the classes that come with Bootstrap, maybe by using I'm going to use the material design palette and maybe come up with my own color scheme. So first thing I'm going to do is in the CSS folder in our project, I'm going to make my own CSS file. So I'm going to create a new file. I'll just call it styles.css. You can give it any name you like. And what I want to do is I'm going to override a few of the classes in Bootstrap. So for example, I'm going to override the BTN primary class. So right now, this BTN primary that comes with Bootstrap, that gives us this blue color. So I'm going to go to the material design palette, and I've clicked on teal, and I think I clicked on teal and blue gray. And I'm going to use this color here, this dark primary color. I want that to be, like, I want all my buttons to use this kind of dark green. So you can click on any colors you like. You don't have to follow what I'm doing. And if I want this hex value, I can just click on this color swatch and it automatically copies the hexadecimal value to my clipboard. So if I go back to my style sheet, I'll set that as my background color. So now my buttons, when I use that BTN primary rather than the blue, I'm going to get this green color instead. Now that's in my custom style sheet, but I now want to add the link to my style sheet into my artist details page. So we've already added Bootstrap. So there's Bootstrap. This is our custom CSS. Now I will move this into a header later. We'll just style the details page for now. So if I refresh my artist details page, my button should change from blue to the primary color that I've picked here. Okay, and it is not working. Let me figure out why. Let's see, we've got our styles. Right, I think so too. Let me check. If I put Bootstrap second, yes, I want our custom CSS first. Thank you, good catch. Still not changing for me. What did I do wrong? My CSS file is unsaved. Yeah, that would help. Yeah, I think Bootstrap should come first, actually, because they cascade. Yeah, so now it's green. Right, goes from, so there's my green. Now, my hover effect, I want to change this as well. So I want to change the hover on the primary so that when I mouse over, it doesn't turn blue, it turns a different shade of green. So I'll say dot primary colon hover, and I'll set the background color. And now I'm going to go and get one of the other related values from my material palette. So go back, and maybe I want it to be this accent color. So when I mouse over the button, it'll change from the dark primary to this green. So I'm going to try that one. Again, when we're using CSS classes, it's a bit of an experiment. That might not be enough contrast. We'll see. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Just lightens up a little bit. I could also change this gray from the secondary. I could use one of the grays in my palette instead. So I'm going to use this secondary text color. I'm going to copy that. And I'll also make a class here of so I'm going to paste that in. And I want the text color to be white. So now that gray banner up at the top of our form, rather than being light gray, having a light gray background and black text, I should have a darker gray background with white text. Okay, it's a bit heavy, but okay. So even though we're using Bootstrap, I can customize it, can override some of those styles. I'm going to make one other CSS change, and then I want to deal with the genre ID problem on our artist page. Let's add, yes, it does. Let's add a Google font. So in your browser, jump over to fonts.google.com. And go find a font you like. Pick any font that you think looks kind of neat. I think I'll use this one, this Oxygen font. When you find a font you like, you click on it. And then it's got different versions, the light, the regular, or the bold. I'm going to maybe use the light version here. So I'll click select this style. Hang on just a second. Let me refresh this. There. Okay. So I'm going to click on my light 300. It's selected. And it gives me links. Now, you can either link or we could import it into our style sheet. So if I add this import statement here in between this, I don't need the style tags. I'm going to copy this import line and paste it at the top of our style sheet. So our custom style sheet imports the Google font. Really just two different ways of doing it. Alessio, either will work. Import is a little newer, basically. So up at the top here, just add a, so here's our Google font. Oops, I forgot to click copy. So I will copy my import statement, ignoring the style and opening style tags. So I'm going to import it in. And then on my body, I'm going to use this font family of the Oxygen and Sans Serif. So this should automatically update the font, at least on our artist details page. Okay, so we're going to use the Google font. We're replacing the default font. Bootstrap does not come with other fonts. So now I get this other kind of light font. So it looks less like Bootstrap, even though we're using Bootstrap to lay things out. We're also going to use our own style sheet and a Google font to make it our own. I can apply this to the artist page as well by simply adding our own style sheet link into the header here as well. So if I go to my artist page, I can just copy my custom CSS link, paste it in, and now our artist page should also include our Google font. I just refresh it, and now I got a new font show. So there's our CSS customization. We've overridden a few of the Bootstrap styles, and we've added our own font. We will do one small element of PHP coding for today. And that is, we want to show the genre names in this table. The genre IDs are useless. So any idea here? What will we need to do in our PHP section that populates our table? What will we need to do in order to display the genre name rather than the genre ID? Yep, okay, Akeem, we are going to have to modify the SQL query first. You're right. What will we have to do to modify it? Right, we need a join. We could use a right join. I think in this case we can use an inner join because every artist must have a genre. We'd use a right join when we could have artists that didn't have a genre. But because that relationship is required, I'm going to use inner join. So we're connecting artists and genres together. So inner join genres on artists. And now we link the primary key and the foreign key columns together. So our artist has a genre ID. Okay, so we're going to modify our query to link the tables together based on that primary key, foreign key relationship. And we might write queries that have many, many joins. If we build complex applications where we want to display data from many related tables, think of something like an order confirmation page. We'd have information from an orders table, from an order details table, from a customers table, products table, addresses table, payments table. We might have to join all of those things together. So we might have 5, 6 or more tables in one query. And we join one table to another, always in this primary key, foreign key relationship. Okay, so there's our query. Let's go and try our page out. Okay, so we've modified line 27. So When we modify the query, my page still loads, but it's still displaying here our genre ID. So how would we fix that? How are we going to get it to show, instead of the genre ID, show the genre name? Yeah, in the for each loop. Okay. You're right, Yama. So here, we've got both our artist table and our genres table. Each of them have a column called name. So we're going to have to specify here artists.name and genres.name, because each table has a name column. So let's try this. Okay, didn't quite work, did it? That's cool. I'm just going to open up my database for a second. We may have to do this a little differently. That's okay. Let's go and check both tables. So in the artist table, yeah, we've got a name column. And in the genres table, we also have a name column. So we're going to modify our query a little bit more. Okay, because right now, we'll just try this query and see what we get. So we've got two columns called name. So in this case, I want to modify the query a little bit. We'll say select artists.star, select all the columns from artists, and genres.name as, and I can use an alias here. I'm going to do it this way. So we'll get all our artist columns, or that should be artists plural, but we're going to give an alias to this column. Okay, I'll try this out in Workbench first and check what happens. So I'll select artist.star, genres.name as. I'm going to try the query this way. So now I've aliased this column, so now my two columns have separate names. So now if we want to output each of these values, it should be possible, because this one is called name, that's the artist, and this one is the genre. So now we should be able to display both name columns because we've aliased the second one. So now we have a way of distinguishing the artist name from the genre name, because we've given the genre name an alias. So this should fix our error. So now our page can display both the artist name from the artist table as well as the genre name from the genres table. Okay, so we've used a join, but we've also needed this alias because our tables have columns with the same column name. And I know a few people emailed me over the last few days asking, how do I do this in my assignment? How do I represent on my table? I want to show columns from both the parent and child table. So you would use a join. You only need this alias if you have columns with the same name, which we do in this case. You might not in your assignment. Well, if you don't specify it should actually order by the artist ID. So with no order by, your query will show by artist ID. So yeah, we can deal with ordering it later, but that's the default. Because I'm selecting artists first. You select genres first, yes, then it would order by genre. If you don't specify an order by, it orders by the first column in the query. Okay, I'm going to stop my recording. I'm going to take out my password and re-upload everything to Git, so the few changes we've made today are available to you. If you don't have questions about assignment 1, then you're free to go. If you need some help or have questions for assignment 1, then I will stick around in the WebEx room and I'm happy to give some help or answer some questions. Okay, and keep in mind it's due Sunday night. I'm not available this weekend. I have to go out of town, so I'm happy to help you, but please make sure you send your help requests before the weekend. Yep. If you come up with questions during the week, you have two options. Number one, yep, you can send me an email, Mike. Absolutely. It helps if you send me the code or error message or a screenshot. That helps, lets me help you faster. I also have office hours appointments available tomorrow and Wednesday. So you can always book through the booking link on D2L and come do an office hours appointment if you need. But yes, you can email me as well.